It's 7 p.m. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Almont Township Planning Commission. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And let's move right into roll call. Michelle, please.
Kevin.
Here.
Nick.
Present.
Bonnie. Here. Tracy. Here. Dennis.
Here.
Tom.
Here.
Leo.
Here.
Ida. Here. Caitlin. Here. And absent is Courtney.
Thank you. The meeting minutes, has everyone had a chance to review? We had a couple edits. Along the way.
Approve the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve the minutes was made by Nick and supported by Tracy. Is there any further discussion or any edits, any exceptions? None? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Nick.
Yes.
Tracy. Yes. Kevin.
Yes.
Bonnie.
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
Motion carries. Minutes from the January 14th meeting are approved as presented. Thank you all. That's that. What happened to my agenda? All right. There it is. Okay. Correspondence. We did have in January a letter from a Sherry Ankley, and that was not read into the minutes. I don't happen to have a copy. I do have it on my tablet, but I would like to note that let me see if I can find it quickly enough. I'll give her a quick perusal. It's not what it is. There it is. Let's see it. Oh, here it is right here. I just had to scroll up. From a Sherry Ankley, who's says, "Dear members of the Almont Planning Commission, I'm writing as a longtime resident of Almont over 40 years to express my strong opposition to the proposed Blake development. I also want to note that I did not realize this project was being considered until after I saw the meeting on YouTube." She would have attended for public comment. "I recognize the value of the responsible growth. I believe this project would bring significant negative impact to the area. Her main concern is traffic. Another concern is the issues that have arisen around the Blake's location in Armada. She doesn't want to see the overcrowding, noise, disruptions that change the character of a small town. She recognizes we've worked hard to maintain a balance between growth and community integrity, and this does not align with that. She believes it does not align with that balance, and is urging us to deny approval of the project." That original email was sent, where is it at? December 11th, and it was not read into the January minutes. I apologize for that. So Ida does have a copy of that. I don't see it in the packet, but if anybody would like a copy of it, I can either forward it or I'm just going to put that in the a hard copy in the public record. If you need that, Michelle, let me know. If you don't have it.
I don't have it. If you could just send it to me and I'll embed it into the minutes.
Forward here. Do you have you don't have a township?
I do not.
Okay. Send it to your Gmail account.
Thank you.
Okay. We also have a letter here from Rodeo Homes about the Bristol Pit from Salvatore, saying that he's notifying us the project is in its final stages and reclamation work is scheduled to be completed before the end of the year. And the activities will be conducted in accordance with township requirements, including site restoration and grading. So, Mr. Pansera, do you have a copy of that as well? No? Pass that down to Michelle, please. There's that. If anybody's interested in seeing it, it's a very simple letter, just stating his position.
Mr. Chairman, that was handed to the Township Board at their Monday meeting. And
Okay.
because it's related to the Planning Commission approval, I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that.
Okay, thank you. I did send, I believe you had stepped out of the room for a minute. Were you here when I was talking about the letter from Sherry Ankley?
No, Pansara.
No, before that.
Oh, yes.
Can you print out a copy of that for the public record as well? To put in the packet?
I'm not sure I have one, but I'll look.
I emailed it to you.
I'll look then.
It was originally December 11th and then again on,
I may have it already in the file.
you may have, but it never got,
Acknowledged.
it never got acknowledged properly. It was
Okay.
December 11th and then,
So I can, you want me to send it to all PC members then?
and then again on January 15th.
Okay, January 15th?
Yeah, I believe it was sent to everyone. It was sent to everyone. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. That's it for correspondence. Anything?
Sherlock Storage correspondence.
I believe is that not down further with Ida?
Oh, okay.
Well, either way, we can do that now. There is some correspondence from Ida to the new owner of Sherlock Storage, which is the United Landscaping property. Mr. Hall requesting him to come before the Planning Commission, understand his responsibilities as a property owner with an SLU, with a current SLU, and all that entails. So I'm assuming you have not had any reply from him as of yet?
Other than he's asking for April, I think.
Okay,
He's asking to be on the April agenda.
okay. Seems reasonable. Okay. Thank you. Well, there's no public comments. We did have a late agenda item. Late agenda item. Engineering Board of Appeals. The ordinance 49.3, section 11.3 states, the Engineering Board of Appeals shall consist of a township supervisor, representative from the Zoning Board of Appeals, a representative from the Planning Commission, and the township engineer. It was brought to our attention that the past representative has not been a part of the Planning Commission for some time, so we need to appoint someone new. Do we have to post for a special election for that, or that's just an appointment, right?
That's just a point.
Okay.
And you can determine if you want to do this annually or biannually or however you want to do it.
Okay.
Something you might want to add to your bylaws.
She added it.
If I may,
It's
I
in
think
there.
It might be easier
Is
to
it?
just do it
It's in
annually
there.
when we do elections.
I would agree that that's probably the appropriate time and place to handle that.
That hopefully won't get missed.
Yeah, that way it's set and never gets brushed under the rug, so to speak. We did have one person who graciously volunteered her services. Has anybody else made any thoughts or inroads to wanting to participate in that field? Okay, I will appoint Bonnie as the engineering liaison.
Support? Do you need support, Kevin?
I would say we'd have to have a motion, and I will make the motion to nominate Bonnie. If we need a second on that.
Support.
Supported by Dennis. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. No nays. Motion carries. Michelle, Bonnie will fulfill that role, please. That covers that.
I think.
May your
The
tenure,
engineering board of review only has met once.
may your tenure as
Didn't
the,
note that.
as the engineering liaison be as uneventful as it has been.
There you go.
We have no new introductions, no public hearing, no really new business. We're still waiting on our principals at Blake's to finalize their new proposal. So, old business. Let's move on to the corrections and text amendments to the bylaws manual. And there are some very nice edits made to this document because there were a few places where it was very hard to read.
Okay, I guess maybe the first thing up is I kind of made a change in the title for chairman to chair and vice chair, just to kind of bring it to this century. So does anybody have any comments or objections?
It's probably appropriate.
Okay. So then there was some language at the end of some paragraphs that said, we moved this article from here, we moved this article from there, which it probably made sense in the time that we were editing it, but it doesn't make sense for anybody that's new to the commission or picking this document up. So I kind of just struck that, unless there's some reason why it needs to stay there.
It doesn't.
I think if my intent was to strike that after the bylaws were approved back in maybe 22.
Okay.
Yeah, they should have come out, Bonnie, you're right.
Okay, and then the third thing is the amended date. Is that something that's legal, that has to stay in the bylaws? Does anybody know if it has to say what?
I do believe that the amendment dates do have to be noted, so people will know that this isn't an original document, it's been amended.
So we have the amendments at the top.
You can
But
put
you
it
have-
at the top,
but you-
or you can put it at, at the very end.
So it's at the end of paragraphs that we've amended.
So procedurally, zoning ordinances do it that way because you have to show which provisions ordinance changes. Bylaws are not the same level of scrutiny, and so you do not have to in bylaws. Some communities do because it's consistent with other documents that they manage, but you're not required to. You can just have bylaws change dates at the top. So it's
It makes it very unreadable in the end to have all of these
And I don't think it's as much public wondering when that changed and how many people read it other than the handful of us.
There's no nonconformity problem.
Right.
That's the legal problem with zoning ordinances. That's why you do it there. Bylaws, you're not required to.
No, I agree.
Okay, so then that's gone, unless there's somebody that objects. Okay. So those are
Let me
the,
understand, you're gonna leave the February 11, 26 in there?
so it'll stay at the top of the document, and I'm gonna take all the amendments out throughout.
The previous one's out,
Throughout the document, and just leave the amendments at the top.
You're taking even February 11th out of the body.
I didn't even put February
Okay,
11th in the
okay.
body,
Yeah.
but it was in
So the
there.
only place the amendment will be noted is at the top.
Yes. And I didn't put it in the body for a couple of reasons. First of all, we haven't talked about it, so it's,
Right.
so that hasn't necessarily been amended. And then, the revision, the amendments from, I can't remember where they were.
April 22.
Yeah, so they were like a while ago, and we did amend the bylaws in September of 25, and that wasn't called out, so. Okay, so then there was just a typo on the top of page 2. They changed the power of other purposes to power or other purposes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. 4, officers of the commission. And then I added the zoning board of appeals liaison here. Am I in 2? No, I'm in 1, sorry. I didn't add the engineering liaison there. I think that has to be added there too now, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I would hold that, per Nick's recommendation, that we do that at that time.
So you're gonna add both liaisons in there, Bonnie? Okay.
Yeah.
And again, challenge on the word will versus shall.
Sorry, what?
Planning Commission will appoint, above that, the officer shall consist, the difference between the two meanings. Shall we appoint him or will? Shall means you have to, right? Defer to Caitlin.
Typically, both are given the same connotation, but shall is more legal.
Change the will to shall.
I'm asking on,
I can
Whatever they
change the
are,
will to shall, I don't care.
Whatever they are, I just think they should be the same.
It's consistently shall throughout the document.
Okay. And then at the back, I will add the engineering liaison to that section, but I also struck the, after I send it out to all y'all, the planning commission will appoint the zoning board of appeals liaison to serve for a period of 1 year or until after a successor is elected. And then the rest of that sentence I removed because it talks about when the election is further down. So we really don't need to say it again because it
I
talks
see.
about the election at the first part of the
It's
year.
redundant.
So
It's redundant.
it becomes redundant.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Article 5, I'll add the engineering board of appeals liaison in there. And then I struck for your instructions B, which was the formal notice on the election.
I don't think we ever did that.
Okay, so then with that rest of that section gets renumbered. Absentee ballots, D, shall not be permitted for the nomination and election of officers or any other positions. Apparently there was some issue with can we just say absentee ballots shall not be permitted, period?
Seems reasonable.
Right?
Seems
Do we
reasonable.
need to call out the officers and the other positions, or is there a time that we've used absentee ballots to appoint?
No, and the only thing I can think of is the Open Meetings Act back when the COVID amendment. If you were a service member, technically you're the only member that can vote virtually, but it's still not an absentee.
Okay, so if I did absentee ballots shall not be permitted for the nomination elections of officers. Well, I'll just leave the whole thing in there and that way it's clear, right? Article 6, vacancy of officers and appointed commission liaisons. I fixed whatever it was that was in between the vice chair and becoming the chair. And then down in 2, I didn't want to have to mail anything out, so I said electronic mail. If you all good with that? Okay.
That's probably becoming more the standard.
6, and then number 2, again, via electronic mail. This is special elections, so electronically you'll be notified. And then vacancies of the zoning board of appeals liaison and the engineering board of liaison. Do you all get a chance to look at this? Do you need me to read it?
Where you at, Bonnie?
I'm on 6D1.
Okay. The only thing is, I'm not clear on the last sentence under 1.
Okay.
The newly elected liaison will be active for the following cases.
So I added a provision because technically for the zoning board of appeals, if you're on a case, you have to stay with that case. You can't get pulled off of that case because it's considered to be like a court hearing. So if there's somebody that gets appointed by the chair to serve as the liaison for that hearing, they can't then get removed or replaced by somebody else. They have to stay on that case until they're done. Now,
I'm just saying, it sounds like an incomplete sentence. I'm looking for something to follow. For the following cases, I'm looking for the cases. So what you said makes sense,
okay,
but I think it needs to be clarified for the way you described the intent.
You want to change the word will to shall?
you know what, I'll do a global search.
Will, shall.
Will to,
The newly elected the newly elected liaison will be active for the
Active cases.
succeeding cases.
For any
Yeah.
active case?
Succeeding cases.
say unfinished business.
Anything beyond, anything from the time they're appointed and beyond.
Did you say,
Just a little clear, you explained it well, Bonnie, but I don't think that sentence captures what you explained.
did you
That's all
just
I'm
say
saying.
undecided cases?
No,
That
no.
way if there's a
No,
vote?
listen to the intent of the sentence. The newly elected liaison. There's a liaison who's sitting on the board, even though they've resigned or moved on, they're still obligated to sit there on that board. But the new one will be following the subsequent cases after their election, is her intent of her sentence.
Initiated
There are
cases.
any subsequent cases after their,
do you like subsequent better than following? Does that do it? Or do you need more still?
I think it'd be all right. Well, I'm good with subsequent cases. That makes it,
Change the will to shall, so we're consistent?
I'm gonna do a global
Yeah.
will to shall, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna go through the whole thing.
okay.
so then I gotta follow up with Kevin's point. If a liaison then is on a case with the board, they have to finish that even though they may have been replaced by a new liaison? Is that what we're saying?
that's my understanding, that's the requirement when you take that position, that you, because of the legal proceedings.
Unless you're physically not capable of doing it,
I mean,
you have to stay
I mean,
with it.
yeah, right. I mean, if there's some,
The idea
you know,
is
you
not.
fall into a coma or whatever, but
Yeah,
I think even then you just have a missing member.
yeah.
I don't think you can fill in.
No,
You
that-
can't have something tabled in February, have someone resign and appoint someone for the March meeting to finish that
that's the intent.
case.
But
Yeah.
Nick is right. Then I think you have an empty chair and you don't really want it,
You
because now
can't
you got
just fill
four.
that chair, that's just, so if someone resigns partway through, even if they resign, you can't make them go, you just don't have a member.
So this
You
was.
can't force them to go, right, correct.
This
But
was
you
a
can't fill that spot either.
But you can't fill it either, right.
So this is a situation where you don't have, the liaison has either resigned or whatever, and now you have a case that comes up and we haven't voted. So this gives the chair an opportunity to appoint somebody so that there's 5. And that this is the situation that I'm saying. So,
But that case can't have started, right?
no. So a case comes up,
Right.
somebody resigns. Kevin calls a special election to fill that vacancy. In between the resignation and the time that we vote for a new liaison, a case comes up and she needs a ZBA member to sit that case. So that's when Kevin can appoint somebody so that there's 5. You don't want to go into it with a 4. So that's the intent of this paragraph, is basically to say how it rolls if you've got a situation where somebody resigns, case comes up, which is hopefully not ever going to happen, but just because it probably will. Kevin appoints somebody and they're serving on the case. In the meantime, we have our election to actually do the liaison. That liaison that was appointed to that case, if it goes longer than 1 meeting, sits for all of those meetings until it's resolved.
Write that down.
I thought I did.
That was the intent of your sentence, I understand that.
Yep, me too.
But it needs to be, we just need to add that clarification, that word, that they're
We're taking following out and putting in subsequent.
they're only going to, yeah, in some fashion, we have to state it that they're only going to be sitting for any subsequent cases after their appointment. That they won't be a voting member on any previous undecided cases.
How would we do that then, Kevin? So we wouldn't
And
have.
that's what I see the intent of this,
So they would not opine in any active cases.
Yeah.
they would not be a voting participant on anything that was open before their appointment. This is the way I read that.
Do you actually want to bar them from voting, though? I mean, to Nick's point earlier, we want 5 people voting. I understand having flexibility that if a member resigns and you have that vacancy, that they should be allotted the ability to finish that case or those undecided decisions. But I think it might be a bridge too far to actually bar someone new from coming in that situation and being able to make that decision. Because you put them on that member because you trust their judgment. If they're a case behind, they can still be brought up to speed.
From Bonnie's explanation, you can't.
That's the way I read into it. I don't,
Isn't that your understanding of the way that it works, as far as the person that's sitting on the ZBA has to finish that case until it's complete? You can't change out members.
That's the policy you want. There's no legal reason that's how it has to go.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a legal reason, that's the way it had to go.
No, there's discretion that sometimes when you have that void, that you let the other member serve until the vacancy can be filled. But in some policies for like ZBAs, when you have alternate members, is to ensure that the alternate stays with the case. Because you don't want, if you can help it, you don't want a new person coming in there. But usually the language is situated slightly differently, where it's either if it's a temporary person or the alternate should maintain the undecided case until completion. That's usually the resolution of it. But the new member isn't directly barred from
yeah, okay. If a meeting of the ZBA or EBA will be convened between the time of the vacancy and the time of election. So there's latitude there that, hey, Dennis, there's a meeting coming up. Can you sit in and provide guidance based on your membership of the PC? I see that now.
And I would have a vote.
And then you would have.
Otherwise, there's no point in
You'd be a
sending
member.
it.
Exactly, you have to be able to vote, yes.
Yeah, this only deals, this paragraph only deals with a temporary liaison, not necessarily resignation that has to fulfill some drawn-out process to come to resolution.
And the likelihood of this happening, have you ever seen it?
Pretty tough.
And the likelihood of it happening is not very, but I just, because of the fact that I've been to how many ZBA trainings, that they kind of beat it into your head, so it just kind of poured out, so. All right, let me take another stab at it.
Okay?
Is there any other changes on that paragraph? Is it good?
No, I, sitting back and rereading it, I see the intent there.
Okay, no changes there, no changes on page 7. Page 8. Paragraph A at the top of page 8. This is about the recording secretary. All information presented from the floor should be forwarded to the planning and zoning administrator. I thought it must be. I thought I wanted a little bit stronger language there than just kind of saying, yeah, you better do that. I think,
Shall in there too, to be consistent? Shall be forwarded?
sure.
But I don't disagree with the shall, but I'm concerned about the next day following the meeting or as soon as possible. They kind of conflict.
What's a reasonable time that we can put on them? Because I think that might be better. The next day might be hard because sometimes you have, like Blake's, where you have 30 public comments, but could you say within
5 days. or
5
something.
business days?
Yeah,
Can you put there's ample time to get it completed, but not,
Is there a law that says how soon the drafts have to be ready?
Is this referring to minutes?
Yes.
Yes. 7 days? You have 7 days to have the draft minutes ready?
No, when the ZBA meets, they try to meet the following day or within a couple days to make a final decision so that the applicant knows that he's fine, he can, go on, or it fails or whatever. So
No, I'm talking about.
That's CBA.
the planning commission, I can get it to them the next day.
I was under this,
Minutes
I'm under the
From the
impression.
recording secretary. This is top of page 8.
Well, I'm the recording secretary, and if I have to have the minutes ready for the
the
follow-up.
recording.
Michelle is the recording secretary.
Oh, this is for the planning commission?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were talking ZBA, sorry, my bad.
So now that we're at the planning commission and the recording secretary is receiving information from the floor, what is a reasonable time frame for her to turn that information from the floor over to you so that we can meet the Open Meetings Act deadline?
Reasonable with you, Michelle? 5 days? 3 days?
I can do it in 5, but if you need it sooner.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
You secretary.
So she has to get to me, I look at it.
Yeah,
Because-
5 days?
But because you two have, in this case, you two, could be somebody else, but in this case, you two have to coordinate. The next day is not reasonable.
No,
No, I
No,
can't do next.
no,
And-
so she's
and-
saying
and-
5 days.
And the sentence conflicts because
as
then
soon
it
as
says,
possible.
or as soon as possible.
Open.
because I didn't read this as minutes. I thought it was stuff that was being presented to the commission from the floor, like from a public hearing. I didn't see that, I didn't read this as minutes. So that's my bad, because I didn't see this. I thought this was information presented.
It should be still listed number of days, so you know, because otherwise, it's as soon as possible, it might be a month.
Yeah.
Can't.
Okay, so then the next paragraph, I talk about the minutes. So let's just put a pin in this for a second. Let's go down to paragraph B.
But I guess, is there a requirement that the draft minutes have to be available?
Yes.
Within X amount of days
Yes,
following the date of the meeting?
yes.
What is that day? What is it, 7, 12, 90? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to establish.
Ida, how many
I think we
days?
should
I
just
thought it
mirror
was
that.
I thought it was 7.
I think it's 7, but I gotta Google it.
Okay, that drives the schedule right there. If that's.
Yeah, I think
if
it should
that-
just mirror.
And I think it's not 7 days, it's 7 business days.
It's 7 business days is what
Right.
I was told when I was in Bonnie's seat. That's what I understood. 7 business days. Until
For,
Friday the next week.
is that for the draft minutes to be
Draft minutes
completed?
available should the public want
All
them.
right, so the official record is that a public body shall make proposed minutes available for public inspection within 8 business days after the meeting in which the minutes refer. The public body shall make approval minutes available for public inspection within 5 days after the meeting in which the minutes were approved by the public body.
Why don't you
So-
just send that to her, she'll put it in there.
There's no need,
That's
there's
good
no need to
language.
put that in there, but, so that means within 8 days,
Does it
Our-
say- does it say
So you-
business days?
our
Yeah,
PC
business days. secretary
secretary and our recording secretary have to come together within that 8 days and wrap up that draft proposal.
I recommend you still use 7, so you still have 1 day to be legally okay.
I was gonna say do 6 for the recording secretary, and then that would give our PC secretary a day or 2.
No,
Were
no,
your
this-
5 days consecutive days or business days? 'Cause they, consecutive days.
Let's read
That's
this,
reasonable.
let's read this sentence again. All information presented from the floor from this meeting must, either one, must be forwarded to the planning and zoning administrator, Ida, within 7 business days. Is that includes any meeting minutes?
No, if.
Correspondence.
Minutes are
If,
the
if you
information
want, you
from the
could
floor.
delete the zoning administrator, because actually, I shouldn't even be looking at those minutes, that's between the secretary and the recording secretary.
No, not for review, just, they should be presented to you within,
You're talking
Because
about the
you're-
completed minutes?
the draft proposal.
Yes.
So you want to just say 7 business days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is paragraph A and B kind of blended together to anybody else? Because
It just wants, who would.
B is about compiling the minutes. And then A starts off as having a secretary with a wage to be determined. And then talks about presenting information. But wouldn't all that information that Michelle presents be in the form of minutes?
Good at making sure that everything is attached to the minutes.
So, yeah, so there was, during the public hearing, were people handing you what they read? No. So you got nothing from the floor at all? Because I just have to be honest, I read this differently. I didn't read this as minutes. I read
Well,
this
no,
as-
now that I'm kind of reading, I'm kind of saying, but they could almost go together, minutes and information presented. I feel like we could shorten that first.
Time frame, so I don't need to review it.
Okay, so,
Continue your thought, Bonnie. So, does that last sentence even need to be there?
I was just going to recommend we strike it.
You're trying to cover it in B, it looks like, anyway.
Right,
on-
and then we can throw the 8 days in the B.
Yeah.
Or the 7
or 8
days, yeah.
Whatever you want to use.
So if we struck the last sentence of A,
All information
All
presented
information, we're
Yeah.
gonna strike that.
right to as soon as possible, that whole sentence.
yep.
Okay.
And then we go into B.
I don't think you need to put this 7 or 8 days in there because it says to meet the requirements of the Open Meetings Act.
Okay,
I think because that act could change at any time, and that would force us to update this.
then with paragraph B, it is giving Ida a copy of the draft minutes, so if for whatever reason we don't have the final, what, you've got a draft, if you've got to present it to somebody, you've got the draft. So, and you can always tell us when, if you've got any issues with whatever it is. So are you okay with B being the way that it is then, and not
Yes,
calling out
I am,
days?
absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to call out days when you have to comply with an act or law that could be changed at any time, because now we've got to follow that and update this way here. It never needs to be updated. If they change the law's changed, and we're covered. There's no conflict.
I just have one question to make sure it's clear that if a public entity were to request draft minutes, it's got to come from Ida and not our recording secretary, because she's the only one that's going to know it's been requested. I don't know if that needs to be spelled out under her duties, but it's not going to be the recording secretary's duties, because she won't have access to that information.
She's not the gatekeeper.
No.
She's what?
She's not the gatekeeper.
Correct. It'd be Ida. Yeah.
Item C, we have never done that I know of, and that's a problem.
So what, Kevin?
Item C, the next paragraph, we have never done.
It's all new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm letting you talk to this one, Dennis. This was your request.
I think it's only fair to the recording secretary, to be honest with you. I mean, if I'm in her position, I want to know if I'm doing a good job or bad job.
It's consistent with the township employee manual.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Very true.
So I think it would just be a matter, if you're okay with this, then we would just come up with a standardized evaluation form so that it's not willy-nilly every year.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
It's objective.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
Not subjective.
Okay. Excellent.
All right. Page 9, section 6 was added.
Just one question on that.
Oh, back up.
Should it be the township board liaison or the vice chair?
Whichever way you guys want to do it.
Yeah, doesn't bother me in either way. I don't know if it should be.
I just thought maybe you would carry it to the board then,
Can do.
is
All right.
what that was my thought process. You sat in on it, you understood it, you could explain it.
Okay, I can live with it.
Okay. Are we on page 9? Section 6. I just kind of threw a paragraph in to cover them.
Seems reasonable.
Okay. Commission meetings. So then there was something also add about attendance. And one of the comments coming back, and 90 consecutive days kind of threw me, because we don't necessarily always have meetings in 90 consecutive days. So I went the route of consecutive meetings
Yeah.
instead of days.
Yeah.
Well, I like that better too, because just because you missed meetings doesn't mean you did nothing for those consecutive days.
Right. Okay. And then there was a request about removal of a commissioner if they were not, if they had excessive absences. The chair of the commission should request replacement of the commission at the earliest possible time to the township board. Is there a way forward? Does this work? Do you want a little bit more of a pathway to this?
Well, I think we've always had, I can only speak for me, but we have Gary and I, or Paul and I, and Gary and I have an open dialogue all the time. I don't see there need to be anything beyond a formal email saying, hey, we've had this participant or this member has not participated and has not really shown any path forward as to attending additional meetings. It's time to terminate or end the relationship and appoint somebody new. I don't know if we have
And I just said majority of meetings. I didn't call out a number. I just said the majority, because depending upon the year, how many snowstorms we've had, right?
Mhm.
It just the majority of meetings.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
that's reasonable.
So
Yep.
one item I noticed that you didn't mark earlier is notifying the recording secretary of an absence really a policy that we want in there?
It wasn't the recording secretary. It should have been the chair.
Well, it says, or one of the planning commission officers. I think you could leave that,
Where are we at?
paragraph A, of the
Third
commission meetings. That person shall notify either the recording secretary or one of the planning commission officers no later than 6 PM of the day of the meeting.
Okay, that was there.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
But you didn't catch it and you caught most of it.
So I'm going down for it. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so you want to strike the recording secretary?
Yeah, I don't think
Could be
it's,
zoning administrator or chair, typically. You don't want too many people knowing, because then it's hard to know if there's a quorum or not. So if 2 people tell Ida and then 2 people tell Kevin, you go, uh-oh.
yeah.
You've lost your majority.
Yeah, I was always under the impression it was the chair and the chair only, but
And we can make it that way. Do you want to leave it that way?
Well, and I think whatever you pick, I don't think a backup hurts in case someone's unavailable. Maybe put via electronic mail sent to both, whoever the two parties are,
I like the commission officers.
or that, yeah.
I like,
But I think maybe putting it like we have earlier via electronic mail, then there is none of that. So-and-so told me, but not you.
yeah,
If it's sent to
Yeah.
all 3 officers, we're all on the same boat of, hey, we're missing 2 people.
there should be some
How to contact.
there should be some traceability there.
Right.
An email, I think, is adequate.
I agree it should be the chairman, because as I'm down to 2 days, I may not get a message until it's way too late.
I think we all get them on our phone.
And so if it's up to the 3 officers, then
Yeah, it should be the officers, and it should be.
And the only reason I think is if it happens to be on a day when you can't be there and you're out of the country with no service and,
Right.
well, where was Dennis tonight? Well, I emailed Kevin. Well, he's
Yeah,
not there.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm making it to
Typically-
the planning commission officers.
Via electronic mail.
Typically in the past, I think they've called Ida.
well, that's when I was working full-time, but now that I'm only allowed, 50 hours a month,
That's right, 2 days a week.
I may not be available when they
Okay,
are trying to.
you have a question?
Yeah, I didn't review the whole bylaws or anything, but I know some communities really enjoy utilizing a member in bad standing. And then they define what a member in bad standing is, because you could have a bad member that's not just a matter of you're not attending meetings. They could have ethical violations. And this gives you a trigger to not have them be there anymore. Some communities, it's because they're not doing the required regular training that we say you should be going to training. If you're not doing that once a year or once every 3 years, maybe we need to find somebody that's willing to put in the time. So some communities like having a little bit more wiggle room. Otherwise, then you have to wait for the entire term of somebody.
I believe that we did make mention of that in regards to the training, not being called out as a member in bad standing, but I think that's probably a good idea.
You could have a member that violates a conflict of interest, maybe one time's an okay, but twice, 3 times, you would want to be able to get rid of that
The
member.
first time, maybe they didn't know. Second
Correct.
time,
Shame on you, shame on me, shame on, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, but some communities enjoy that language. If you'd like a sample, I can send that over to you.
I like that idea.
yeah, please.
And you thought you were finished with this, huh, Bonnie?
No, I didn't, I knew I wasn't. I knew I wasn't. It was like a daily thing with me.
I thought it looked pretty good.
So do anywhere, and I should know the answer to this stupid question, but do we talk about just regular commissioners? Officers? Duties of the officers? Then we go into commission meetings, but I'm thinking that this might be commissioners rather than commission meetings,
Right.
right? And then we kind of say, as a commissioner, your attendance is required. So we're gonna change that to commissioners.
On the last page, it does say the planning commissioners are required, under additional training, are required to attend and complete 1 training session. The very last page, page 16.
Okay, so we're gonna do, what was that called again? That was called
A member in bad standing.
member in bad state.
Or you can say good standing, depending on your half glass full, half empty person. But
So are you thinking, Bonnie, that should go back under Article 3?
I can't find Article 3. It's gone from my.
Page 2.
Membership and represent, there we go.
Page 2, mostly on 3. Page 3.
usually that's
See.
where it is, but you can have it somewhere else in the bylaws, as long as you know where to find it.
No, I think, yeah, you're right. I think this is where we define it. Yep, that's good. I like it there. This tells you what you can and cannot do.
Right.
And then now we're gonna tell you what happens if you do it.
Yeah, you're in bad standing,
That's right.
or sitting.
We're gonna give you a chair in the corner. Okay, so then I'm gonna leave the commission meetings back the way they were. I'm not gonna change that.
Should the training be moved up into this, or should it stay Article 14?
It's on C too.
Yeah, it is in there twice, isn't it?
It is in twice, yep.
So our Article 14 should probably be removed. It's verbatim, the text is verbatim. Between 3C and Article 14.
Okay, page,
So I believe it's the last, it's 16, page 16.
page 16, additional training,
Yeah,
and that's exactly as what page, what paragraph?
page 3, right in the middle, item C. Good catch, Tracy.
so I'm eliminating Article 14. Okay. Okay. Okay, nothing on 10, nothing on 11, nothing on 12, nothing on 13, nothing on 14.
There's a cut, you gotta
Oop.
edit, a small edit there.
Yep, okay. Yeah, this was the paragraph I thought we talked about before, because and I can't remember how it was before,
Said meeting should be.
but it read weird.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter who's present. No other business may be acted upon by the commission, period.
This is for a special meeting,
Correct.
right?
Even if it could be, I don't think we want to go down that rabbit hole.
No, that should be eliminated, starting at unless to the end of the sentence. It should be acted upon by the commission, period. Everything else should be struck.
Where? Businesses said meeting.
Just end a commission. Okay.
Page
Yeah, because
13.
the old one, the word all was not there. So it said, the business of said meeting shall be limited to the subject contained in said notice, and no other business may be acted upon the commission unless members of the commission are present. Well, yeah. So, but you want to strike it and see it completely?
That's, no, just from,
Unless all members of the commission are present.
yeah. That's contrary to the special meetings rules. There's no other business during the special meeting, period.
Is that part of open meetings?
No.
I didn't know if there was rules for special meetings that you couldn't conduct new business anyways.
There are.
So we're back to if a law
A
changes.
special meeting, the agenda has to be posted
Right.
with the information that we're going to be opining upon.
The applicant pays for that special meeting, so if he
Is it-
were to add something else onto that, then he's paying for that extra business, which has nothing to do with his reason for being there.
Sentence C should end at commission.
Yes, I agree. Okay, 15. What are we into here?
Article 12, page 15.
Parliamentary authority.
I have to do this.
I think that was just a typo, if I remember right. Last sentence in parliamentary authority.
It's like I got some work to do. This didn't get done.
Yeah, there was just a T missing. It said, or he, accuracy of a member's conduct. So it just needed a T. That was a whole big deal on that one. And then I fixed the compensation was misspelled. Okay, the annual report. So, yeah. So it's gotten bigger and bigger,
What has?
the annual report.
I thought you did a great job.
Well, yeah, thanks.
You
But
really.
now I'm doing training and
Oh, okay.
so the planning commission secretary shall at the end of each year prepare and for approval of the planning commission and submittal to the township board of trustees a written summary report of its activities, attendance, excused and unexcused absences, and training taken by the commissioners during the calendar year, covering the previous calendar year. Planning commission shall receive and review the annual report and either vote to modify the content as presented or vote to forward said report to the township board for acceptance. So I was kind of winging it there. So you can say, no, this is wrong, go back and do it again kind of a thing. Or you can say, yeah, it looks good, let's send it on to the township board, right? Because we didn't have anything where we accepted it. We didn't have anything where we had any direction on what we did with it once it was brought to the commission.
So these trainings, so now we need to put something in there on how we're gonna submit them. Because I don't think we ever really had that before. To the secretary.
Not to the secretary, to the township clerk.
So my thought on this was to get with Jenny, the clerk, and she's but the one that's been paying for it, unless you think.
Everything goes through Jen.
But everything goes to the clerk anyway, just let her know that we're gonna need a list of training and let her compile that, and we'll just include that as part of the report. And I think the only thing that you might have for some of our new members that are appointed at the end of a year, right? There's not going to be any training that can even be accomplished. So there's going to have to be like an asterisk that says, appointed, kind of a thing. So it doesn't look bad because they didn't attend any training that year. Well, they've only been a commissioner for 2 months. Give them a break. So.
There's some redundancies. Are you ready to move on from that?
Hey,
Okay. On page 16, there's a paragraph B at the top that talks about absences, and then we also talk about it on page 9, Article 8. Do those two need to be reconciled into one location?
They could, but B is specifically calls out unexcused, and I think on page 8, it's just 3 absences in general. 3 consecutive.
Right, there's some inconsistency there.
well, to Nick's point, you can call up the officers for 3 meetings and you're still in trouble, right? But in this case,
Well, this is
you can
unexcused.
miss 2 meetings and not tell a soul and you're in trouble.
Okay, yeah, I see the difference, okay.
But if you
Put
want to
under
move
Article
them,
No, I apologize, no.
you want to move them together?
No,
Okay.
no, I see the difference, okay, I had to read deeper into it, okay.
Should the last part of that sentence, a planning commission member, should we at least make that the planning commission officers? Because
Yeah.
we're telling them.
Oh, yep, good catch, yep.
Yeah.
And then I added that reference
Yeah,
to go back to the Article 8 on planning commission meetings, just so in case somebody got here, they needed to know that there was more attendance someplace else in the bylaws. If you want to leave it there, we can take it out if you don't.
We should put all the attendance together.
Oh,
I don't
yeah, because
necessarily
Article 12 talks about the annual report.
right, that really
Doesn't
isn't
belong
part of the
there.
annual report, it's not part of
Yeah.
that.
So you want to move that to Article 8? B?
If not, it's starting to look like our zoning ordinance.
What?
If we don't, it's starting to look like our zoning ordinance.
You're right.
Okay, so moving it to, move
Well,
this.
that's consistent, right?
Okay. So then I kind of backed off of the amendment of rules of procedure a little bit. And I don't know if this is a legal thing or not, but if, like we talked about the fact that we were going to be amending these or looking at the amendment the last meeting, we knew it was going to be on the agenda. So they wanted it to be submitted by mail to all members. I changed it out to electronic mail, and then 15 days before the meeting. But if notice of amendment of the bylaws was presented at the preceding meeting and said amendment appears on the agenda, that will satisfy the notice requirements of this paragraph, which means I don't have to send it out 15 days before because it's on the agenda and we talked about it at the previous meeting. So if you can't remember that, it's on your agenda. So,
If
Seems
there's no
reasonable.
legal that I'm aware of.
okay, good, thanks.
Seems reasonable.
That's it.
And you're going to provide that notice, the secretary, or?
Or whoever wants to make the amendment.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Does that need to be spelled out?
Well, procedure, I just want to make sure who's sending out the notice. If you send it out, then I don't send it out, but I would probably make a copy of it and send it out with the packets. So I'm just,
We don't get the packets 15 days ahead though.
no, you don't get it 15 days early, no.
Right. So it would have to be sent out.
And you're in charge of all of these amendments, but it comes from you. Because you would know when it's ready.
So you want me to add in there the planning commission secretary?
That way there's no confusion as to who's doing what.
It's responsible.
Because like Nick said, I'll put it in the packet, but you get your packet a week before, which is 7 days. This
Satisfy
is saying
that.
15, so.
Okay. Thanks, people.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Oh, we had one more. We had a little bean here.
Bean.
Put some spelling and grammar.
That was just a
Yeah.
grammar
Well, that was a run-on sentence, actually. It was really weird. It was like the application was the end of the sentence. There was a period there. And then being considered, so it was weird. So it was,
Also, period.
as a member of the Almont Township Planning Commission, a member are encouraged to visit the site of an applicant that is being considered by the commission, keeping in mind that the type of application, period. Being considered, so it's like, okay,
Application being considered. Yep, okay, got
got it.
Thank you. That was quite an undertaking.
it. So is this something you'll have by next meeting?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Old business number 2.
More fun.
Review on the proposed draft solar energy ordinance. I guess the floor would be yours,
Okay, so I
Ms.
guess
Evans.
where I would propose we leave off is probably on page 4 of the draft. One of the things we kind of rain checked was talking about the current requirements for environmental impact statements, but also traffic impact statements. So I did include that in your last submittal, what the current zoning ordinance has on that item. And so I can flip to it on the big screen too. But I think that's the first question I have is based on our existing documentation, so it's at the very end of your packet, do we think that is sufficient? So a development impact statement is automatically something that the planning commission require when it is a special land use over 5 acres, which every solar project would be. Any rezoning, granted, for whatever reason, the planning commission always has the discretion to waive it if they don't see that information being necessary. So I think that's part of that. Next, it talked about various different development type questions. So like land use, public utilities, natural features, things of that nature. So it goes through a series of different questions and pieces of data that you need to verify and then provide in that report. Now, for some projects, it won't be relevant. So like for a solar facility and part of employees, they're gonna have maybe an inconsistent member that's part of the maintenance group. They may have contractors for lawn mowing, and if they just provide the information to best answer that question. So sometimes that answer is really simple. Sometimes that question's not applicable, but it's a very in-depth analysis that somebody would have to provide us to help make that decision. And the planning commission does have the discretion, let's say, if they don't provide enough information, we can look at that report and say, so when we talked about wanting topography or wanted more information on water, we meant like actually looking at well data because you're proposing to drill a 200-foot well and everyone around you is maybe 70. So we want more substantial to verify there's not going to be a use concern. So using the general requirements is a little bit easier because then we're being consistent. We're not treating them special, and especially if we feel like this general information is helpful. The other cross-reference was traffic impact studies. So similar vein where it is a series of various different questions regarding existing condition descriptions, trip generation, impacts, additional traffic studies or other studies that may be relevant, mitigation or adversing based on those potential concerns. So these are also general requirements that generally have served well, that I think we can just cross-reference and then kind of fulfill that purpose. Is everyone in a similar vein that they agree with that cross-reference and that we don't need to go more in depth just for solar facilities?
Dennis?
Well, are you saying we're cross-reference back to what well, I guess it might be in Article 4 or because of site plan requirements?
Yeah, so the the development impact statement and then the traffic impact statement. Yes, it would be a
It was already
cross-reference.
covered under Article 4 as part of the site plans. Is that what you're saying?
It is, but we can still have the cross-reference just so as somebody's looking at this and they understand those connections. But the development impact statement is required with any special land use over 5 acres. You can automatically require it.
Okay.
Which there will be no solar facility less than 5 acres.
Like we've talked about traffic and solar, it's not really.
Yeah.
So it's good that we have the availability, but I don't think that's that big of a deal.
It's not going to be a
Other when they're setting up their arrays. So once they're set up, it'll be nothing,
Right.
right?
Generally, they have a low minimal component. Construction always causes some level of nuisance. Is it more than your typical construction site? Windmills specifically, they do have more traffic involvement because they have to make road improvements typically to make the apparatuses for turning for those big prefabricated material. Battery storage, I'm not as aware of anything being unique to them or any other uses, but that is something that's in our general drawer that we can pull out and utilize if we see that it's necessary.
I want to make sure we're all on the same document because there's been so damn many of them. I'm looking at the one I think you gave us back in January, Caitlin. Up in the right-hand corner of the cover is draft 5 dated 1/7/26.
Yep, so In your packet, you should have received the updated version, which is the exact same level of markups, except, again, it exported with my track changes not showing you where it removed text. And so the one that we received in your packet is the exact same level of markup, but now you actually see what I was trying to describe. So apologize for that issue earlier on, but the packet, the information that was in your packet should correspond still with the cover letter that was reviewed last month, and then the same level of markups that were done. It did not accept any of those changes from our last meeting and resend them to you. It's just making sure those crossed out texts that I was trying to reference are actually shown. So yeah, it's on page 4. So it'll be pretty similar to what you received last month without that track changes with the markups. But the recent packet, or the recent items that were in your packet show those changes. I don't think the yellow highlighted came through the scanned version, but I see many of you still have the printed version, I think, or something of that.
No, they had a color version.
Oh.
They got everything.
Gotcha.
So is the cover letter you sent still
It's the exact same.
January 7th?
Yep, the exact same.
Okay,
Yep, so we're still working off that. I did not provide new information, was the intention.
so it would be, yeah, we need to figure out how to track it. So it's this one?
So that's the, correct, that is the one that we reviewed in January.
This is the one we reviewed in January.
Yep, but the one I sent in the recent packet is the same markups, but it shows the track changes on it.
Okay. See, I guess I don't have it.
The one that came in this month's packet is the one that has the markups that we didn't get last month.
Did you change it from last month to this month?
So the only thing that changed is that the crossed out that I meant to have there, the strikeouts, they weren't in your draft version.
So this has not been updated with the ground that we covered last month.
Correct,
This has not been updated.
Okay,
No, it's just, we see everything.
correct.
So it's different than what we got last month, but not really.
Right, but it's not reflective of
No,
what we did
no,
last month.
right.
Correct.
'Cause
that's what confused me.
Yeah, so I'm trying to keep the draft numbers still together, so that way, again, we'll, even with without the markups, we're all still talking about what we want to adopt. So if you follow along, you should still be good.
Okay, so back to the question on the floor.
So page 4, in your packet, was looking at the cross-reference to development impact and traffic impact statements. So just want to verify we're good with the cross-reference associated with that. And that provides some direction of content that we're looking for them to answer.
I'm good. You good?
No, I'm lost.
Okay, so on the marked up one that she gave us in this package this time, if you look at, on page 4, under,
Page 414.
So the top of it is Article 2, General Provisions?
correct, go down to number 4,
Mhm.
environmental analysis, and then she's calling out our development impact statement in section 4.4.
Right, okay.
And then she's also calling out the traffic impact statement in 5, rather than having verbiage in there for its own environmental impact statement, which,
Back to section 4.4 and 4.5.
yes.
So we would strike Roman numeral, I guess, 4 and 5? Well,
So
not
you can
necessarily
keep the
Roman.
cross-reference.
Oh, I see.
Or I think it's fine to keep it, I mean, that's fine to cross-reference, it's not that redundant. Technically, you can remove it outright because you can require it otherwise, but it is a value that you're concerned about, so it makes sense to just cross-reference.
Okay, I got it.
Now, the question is, do you want me to bring you up to speed where we left off from this page now that we're all together? Or do you want me to go right where my note says, this is where we left off?
think we should go right where we left off, because we're gonna end up doing this again.
Right.
Once we finally get through it once.
I don't know where we left off.
You were supposed to start with buffering.
Yep, that's what I have.
7 to 14.
7 to 14E. I think it's EJ, maybe J.
Do you guys want me to keep following along on the big street or not really necessary?
I'll see what you're talking about now.
Yep, so it shouldn't be too hard to follow along. Okay, very good. Let me grab my notes on the left so I don't lose track. All right.
So signage is where we stopped from January's meeting?
Landscaping buffering, so if you're looking in the review letter, that's L.
Oh, go back and review that.
So I highlighted in yellow to verify you want this to be a special requirement rather than meeting the current buffer requirements you already have in section 7.2. I just want to verify that you also want a special bond associated with landscaping, because we don't do that for any other use. So let's say if they don't put in the landscaping, just like any other construction project, if they don't put the dumpster enclosure, we have a performance bond on those temporary CFOs. Or if we give them any gravity on operating, we have that money in hand to make sure that improvement's done. That's through our performance standards. And so do we want something special, or do we want to keep with what we already have as a part of our requirements? And being a special land use, there is some level of discretion still for additional screening if it's next to a bunch of residents as opposed to a farm field.
Yeah, that's where that comes back to what you were saying earlier, Nick. We get provisions here, and then we got provisions also in the,
Well, and my only thought is I think it's a tightrope of not going too far because it's solar. You know, singling it out.
You're creating a pigeonhole that you're gonna stuff these people into that.
And they're just gonna go to the state and we're not gonna get to do anything. Always dictate the bond at their site plan and SLU approvals.
Typically, you don't establish bonds though for use like this, for landscaping.
No, just in general though. And if they don't meet the landscaping,
Right, but the board would set that.
don't meet the landscaping.
Right, but the board would set that. That's something that's set administratively.
We had that big discussion, what was it, a couple months ago? I thought that's what we discussed, and certain times we could.
So it's common to put bonds establishment for specific improvements in special situations. So like mining operations have bonds with the township to ensure that, with the county road commission regarding the road components. And then in Corey's report, we do have certain bonds for certain improvements that haven't been implemented yet. I don't remember if the building department does construction bonds. Okay, some communities do, where they say before you even start, I want 25% of the cost to do the improvement. That way, in case anything comes up, we have our bases covered on inspections, yada, yada, yada.
So let me tell you where the committee was coming from the solar standpoint, because we don't want them to go to state, you're right. But at the same time, we want to be able to say that we've written something that's going to protect the neighbors. And one of the key things that we were concerned about was the screening. So the last thing you want is to have somebody's glare coming at you. You don't want to see that eyesore. You really want to make sure that it's buffered well. So we kind of went beyond the buffer, if you will, that's in the ordinance specifically so that this does not become a nuisance. And so that when the neighbors come in, we say, hey, we asked for additional screening, and the landscape bond is to make sure that that stays there. So that as trees die out because they planted them in June, then we make sure that, we've got something in hand to make sure that that screening goes back in I get the fact that the site improvement bond includes the landscaping, but this is just specifically for the landscaping so that we keep that buffer, we keep that screening for this use because of the fact that this is a use that we don't want to be able to see. So that was the mindset, if you will. You guys can do what you want, but that was where we were coming from.
Correct, yeah, I think I want to stick with that, absolutely. I guess we would have to, I think our first paragraph under buffering, our first sentence in buffering kind of defines what our goal is. We don't want to be able to see this thing, period. The intent of the provision is to screen all areas of any solar field from public/neighboring view completely. I don't know if Article 7 in here does that.
Right.
It does not.
It won't.
Correct. Yep, so that's why I just highlighted yellow, making sure everyone remembered the other provision. The other flexibility that we have on buffers too is this really focuses on landscaping, which landscaping helps you kind of develop, but it develops over time. And
Yeah.
so in situations where, let's say, a property owner is really concerned and they're like, you know what, I'd really just like a fence. And so to satisfy the requirement, they have to put in the landscaping rather than, if they want to put in the fence, they have to put in the fence in addition to the landscaping. So I didn't know if you wanted any flexibility associated with other obscuring screening methods such as a wall or a fence. Granted, it won't be as tall long-term because fences don't grow, but just wanted to check your intent on that. Do you want to have that flexibility or do we really not want to have that flexibility? We really want it to be landscaped so you don't see it. It looks natural. You would never know it was there rather than a fence or a wall. Something's probably on the other side. And they do typically have to already put these in chain link enclosures.
It is going to be fenced. So it will be a fence in addition to, it will be a wall in addition to the fence, right?
So you want the flexibility?
No,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think we need it. But that's just one person here, so.
So I misunderstand Caitlin then. You say we would have the flexibility of adding a fence or not?
So as a special land use, there's some level of discretion. You could require it, but the double whammy is that the planning commission still has to meet, or the requirement is still the landscaping. So they still have to do the grain belt for this use. So if a neighbor said, I just want a fence because it's not a topography change, I just rather have a fence. I don't want to wait for the evergreen trees to fill in. They would still have to do the evergreen and they'd have to do the fence. So sometimes with these operators, well, now it's just costing me more money and they question the purpose because the intention is you don't see it. And so I didn't know if you wanted to think about that.
That's going to be
additional-
one tall fence then, and it's going to be not chain link, it's going to be solid.
Correct. It could be solid. And I guess it just depends. Again, there's a lot of variables there. So there could be a topography change. The neighbor doesn't see that because their house is lower. But again, just want to make sure you thought of that because it has come up in other communities. But if we want the landscaping, that is an easier vested option. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think the way you have it written fully satisfies the intent.
Yeah. We
So
don't want to see it. Yep. And I don't want to see a big tall wall either, so.
No, a cinder block wall is not,
we're also, in fencing, we're requiring a 7-foot high fence basically to restrict unauthorized access, basically what that says.
but that's a different objective.
Right, exactly, Kevin. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's,
And that 7-foot tall fence is going to be after the buffer.
Yeah,
So you're not going to
Inside.
see that 7 tall.
you won't see the fence from the
You won't see
trees.
the fence, yeah. I like that.
Somebody gets through the trees, they can't get through the fence, I guess.
That's right.
And then the landscaping bond, we still want to keep that, correct?
I say yes.
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
The landscaping is a very small portion of the project cost.
Absolutely.
In this case.
Yep.
Okay. Next is water and soil. This is covered under general provisions in section 7.3 and section 230. So I don't know that you necessarily need it.
Oh, it's part of the
Stormwater management,
Site
soil
plan.
types.
Article 4. Is that where it's at? Yeah.
Okay, now I'm lost.
You okay with that?
I don't know, I'm lost. I'm sorry.
At top of page,
8.
the top of page
Just
8.
on the next section, right below where we were.
Yeah, that's fine.
Next is talking about size limit. So I highlighted this because I just wanted to verify how you felt, how your municipal attorney maybe felt about these sizing requirements and these placing. So I don't know if you've had that already conversation with your legal counsel or not. We can keep it as drafted and just verify their consent, but I can't firmly say this is a concern or not a concern, but that is a legal checking of is that too exclusionary or not.
Correct. Yeah, we haven't run this by legal at all.
So 320 acres was 1/4 section? Is that what that was?
That's where it came from. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's 1/4 section of the township.
And the documents I've looked at are all over the board on this.
It is.
Here's MTA saying 1,000 acres. The one from Indiana said 1,000 acres or something like that. The milli, which is not quite 50 megawatts, that's,
By limiting it to 320, that might be a takings clause.
I think that's where Caitlin's going.
I think it could be a takings clause that says, hey, you got 1,000 acres, you want to sell it, we're not going to let you. And that might be a problem.
Yeah. So 50 megawatt, which where the state would take over, is probably somewhere in 300 or 260 to 280 acres with today's solar technology. If they get a bit more efficient, then obviously the acreage comes down. So, yeah, this was kind of a number we pulled out of the air, I think, didn't we, Bonnie?
You have a rationale behind it, so we legally
Well,
defend it later for the record.
A quarter of an acre. Yeah, I mean,
There is
Quarter of a
rationale
section.
behind the number picking. But that is something I would flag, that some people would argue that's not physically possible, it's exclusionary zoning components. So as long as we run it through legal, if you want to see where he lands on it or she, we can have that.
I think
further
it has to be
conversation.
provisional based on consultation.
leave it alone, is that what you're saying, Kevin? At
Leave
320?
it in there for provisional review with the consulting attorney.
I guess, you start walking a fine line on this issue, and I was a little bit concerned with a 150-foot setback because that takes more requirements before you even start to build a solar panel. So you got a 150-foot setback, which we've put in here, but your buffer is only 60 feet. So your real estate acreage starts to get larger as a result of that 150-foot setback. MTA recommends 100. And your buffer is only 60 feet, so what are you doing to the other 90 feet, basically, that has got to be mowed lawn before you get to a solar structure? I think my opinion is 150 feet is too big, because you're starting to eat up real estate that's not benefiting anybody. That was my argument. So, because your buffer is only 60 feet wide, and it's pretty thick because you can't see it from the road or another property or whatever. And we've already said what the noise level could be at the property line or whatever set. So, yeah, okay.
All right, so then the next provision is talking about non-participating parcels. So I recommend removal of this because for developers, this is an absolute non-starter. So the differences between participating and non-participating is that non-participating are not being financially compensated for being part of this project. Participating are. And so if you border more than two sites that are or surrounded by a non-participating parcel.
So two sides.
Yeah.
It's on
No more
site.
than two sides or surrounding a non-participating parcel. So
It's completely surrounding a non-participating parcel.
correct. So there could be one neighbor that doesn't want it and they are surrounded. They could have 15 acres, but they are surrounded. And so therefore, they now need a variance. That's really hard to get.
I'm not following you. The idea here was to protect a non-participating property owner from being surrounded by solar farm.
I understand.
I don't understand why that would be a difficult thing for a developer to avoid.
I'm just telling you what the industry's told me when I've reviewed this with other municipalities. You can keep it, we can highlight it yellow for legal to look at, but for a lot of developers, this is a non-starter. They'll automatically ask you to remove that from your ordinance if you were approached.
I'd let you leave it in there. Let the lawyers tell us we can't.
Okay, that's fine.
Because this is protecting the person from being surrounded.
And that's happened in Chesaning County, or Chesaning Township. They have massive bunch of property owners that got together and they surrounded some of the property owners that were not participating. And they had no choice. And that went to the state and it's probably still pending.
So they're landlocked inside the solar,
The only access they got is their road that they put their driveway on. Otherwise, they're surrounded by
Solar.
solar.
That's
Because of the
interesting.
contiguous property owners that, there might have been 8 or 10 of them. Were you, oh, that was Roe. Roe did that one up there.
that's interesting, okay.
So, yeah, I think,
Now let's,
I'll flag it and,
Yeah.
we can just have that be a more pointed point to the attorney.
okay.
Next is talking about emergency plans. So it's more common for municipalities not just to talk about the township fire department, but other mutual aid partners, especially as you get into the other alternative energy sector. You want to make sure that your entire team is ready for that. So that's a relatively minor modification just to check you were okay with additional partners.
You put that in your letter, didn't you? Yeah.
Let me jump down to E, which is our environmental protection. So we kind of already mentioned it earlier with cross-reference of the section already talking about environmental components. I guess I wanted to check with a few of these specifically. Do we want to consolidate those? So as we mentioned earlier, we felt like our general standards pretty much covered us. Does it make sense to do that again, taking out the redundancies here? Or do you want to just beef up the other one where there's lacking? One of the specific concerns I have is that water resources, no wetlands, stream, or other water body can be within 2 miles of a commercial solar facility. I think that's also difficult to achieve.
I don't think that would fly. 2 miles? That's huge. I don't think that would fly at all. I mean, that's just
Showstopper.
I'm certainly no, I'm trying to think of the term for the person who,
Hydrologist.
hydrologist, yes. I'm no hydrologist, but I would say that there's no place in Michigan that you could satisfy this requirement.
Yeah, we have a lot of county drains that go through wetlands. Are more sporadic in our township than some other places, but I do know that would probably be a compliance problem, is the 2 mile radius. And we do ask for that information, so if they want to be right next to the county drain, we can address that if there are environmental concerns and things of that nature.
which one of these are you on?
Page
It
9,
is B,
B4.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we did have that in there. I read the one from Indiana this morning. That's what they use, 2 miles. But it was draft.
and it's Indiana.
Indiana?
Yeah, they don't have as much water as we do.
Yeah. They made a tough ordinance, let me tell you.
Yeah, but they have a lot of drains because
Well,
there's a
this
lot of
even says
farmland.
other water body. I mean, so does that even count ponds?
That would count ponds.
I mean.
Yeah, I don't know that you could ever, I don't know that you could
I don't
ever,
think that would
you could
fly.
ever enforce that.
So back to, I guess, the original question is, do we want to reference our general environmental impact statements? Or do we want to have unique to this? So this is a very built out. The other thing I can do is, this is very built out, it's very thoughtful. I can go back to the environmental section and just beef that up so everybody is on that same baseline.
I don't think that's necessary. I do think there are some specific areas here that need to be addressed
In this ordinance, you
in
mean?
this ordinance that wouldn't apply to a general construction project. But I don't think, like in this case, that type of specificity is going to pass muster.
And then other applications.
Yeah.
Residential expert on environmental impact is Brian, and he's no longer here. He wrote most of this because of his educational background on it, so. So you're good with leaving it specific to this ordinance?
I would like to see a specific section that addresses those things that go above and beyond. But again, like the water resource thing, that type of thing, that'll never pass legal.
Right.
Because it's not remotely possible. And they'll go right to the state and say, deal with it.
So is traffic and transportation at the bottom of this page, number 9, is that redundant to the traffic study? Yeah, so we can kind of eliminate that.
Okay. I don't know if you want to remove the waste management component specifically associated with this use.
No, I don't think we would want to remove it, nope.
Okay.
Is it required above and beyond what a normal industrial or commercial?
We're on waste management, which is,
So all
Page 10.
generation of solid, liquid, or hazardous waste, as well as management and disposals strategies.
What page, man?
10, top of.
Okay,
waste management.
I misunderstood what it meant. Okay, yeah,
So most solar installations wouldn't, that's not their concern. Or you typically don't have waste generation from them.
So then it's not a big deal for them to say none.
Sure, yep, that's fine. That's what I'm saying, just
Yeah.
highlighted. I don't see any, other than the one I already indicated, I don't think there's any other red flags.
Okay.
Next is talking about decommissioning plans. So does the township also want to not just require the operator, but make sure that you guys are aware that you can revoke a special land use, because that's in section 5.6. So the cross-reference is helpful, and I don't see any reason that it can't stay, but that can stay there. It's also more common to use performance guarantees. We can add that language to section 1310 because it's not as strong as a general provision that I think is what you would want just universally regarding performance standards and that decommissioning plan. So that specifically is talking about,
Page 10, right?
yes.
But where's our reference to, what'd you say, section 5?
I'm just making sure that you're aware that you can revoke a special land use.
Does that have to be spelled out in here? 'Cause we're not.
No.
Oh, it doesn't?
So you
Okay.
already have the authority to revoke a special land use. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure you're aware of that.
But if we revoke their special land use, it would kick them into the decommissioning.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
something lined
And
here.
then, I guess I do propose, at section A of that provision, I do propose removing, the last couple sentences, the planning commission shall.
It's not, right. I agree, we're not an enforcement body.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not an enforcement body. We have no authority to go on the site and say, oh, you're not producing electricity anymore. That's,
Yeah, we don't want that requirement in the planning commission.
So I can go ahead and remove that, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm jumping down to G with the decommissioning plan. I recommended removing the, sentence there. Let me catch up on the screen. So top of the next page, prior site plan approval, a commercial solar shall have a plan approved by the planning commission for decommissioning of the site. Most decommissioning plan, that's part of site plan review. So it's not like, I guess I just wanted to check that it wasn't a separate process or an application. That's part of your site plan, you have a decommissioning plan. So I don't know that you necessarily needed that. And then I did propose whatever financial resources were deposited. This language is more common under 1310 to make sure that you have those. So specifically letter of credits, do not recommend any municipality doing it because any bank can say, oh yeah, they have an account with us for 10 grand. And then next week after I gave you the letter, they withdrew their account and you have to have someone that's checking that. And there's no ownership on the bank having to reach out to you or anything like that. So letters of credit are very much not a municipal friendly option.
Okay.
I have highlighted in there, starting on
The bottom of page, or that paragraph G. So
it says put this
as
back.
well as the following, the first paragraph G, and so then you're eliminating A, you're eliminating B, so then you're going to, is that every 3 years? Is that the next?
Yep, every 3 years stays. So that's not an uncommon practice that you want to make sure that estimate stays consistent. That's unique to each type of project. That is extremely common. And then the next one would be the new B, which is put this back. That's where I have it highlighted yellow. And then those make sense as general requirements. I wanted to check that annual review is common. I guess I don't know what your current practice is for gravel operations. Those are typically annual.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to keep in spirit of what they do. It is a different type of operation, so you can have it be different. But that is something you could consider it being consistently the same. And some communities add flexibility that property owners can request that certain assets stay as part of the decommissioning plan. So as part of the solar facility, they could have an access road. Well, the farmer that leased it could say, can I keep the road? And you say, no, you can't keep the road because it's part of the project, you have to remove it. Some farmers, as part of those contracts, they are more than happy to keep all of the wiring. And that's just a fun field day for them to just take it all out and they get to scrap it. That's part of that's why they said yes to the contract, is they're getting free wire 20 years from now or 50 years or whatever. So I guess I don't know if you want to add some flexibility that property owners can specifically say, I'm okay with that on my property staying or not.
I could see where that could be left to the discretion of the owner, the property owner. Maybe there's an outbuilding or something that got added and they want to keep the outbuilding.
Any underground wiring, concrete, any of that kind of stuff, though, if that property owner said, yeah, leave it, and 2 years later he sells it, nobody knows it's down there. I don't know, I'm just,
So some of it's due diligence on property owners.
Yeah.
So what level of governmental oversight do we think makes sense? There
Is
are
there-
correct, there are bad operators, there are people that don't read agreements before they sign it. What level of oversight do we want to have in that ownership decision?
Is there a way that we can put in there that they discuss it during decommissioning with the current owner?
Most of mine have been addressed at the site plan review level, and then they would just amend the site plan. If,
At decommissioning?
at decommissioning, if, let's say, again, property
Yeah,
ownership
because-
changes, I want to keep these
Right.
things. Adding it,
I guess if it can be done, there's a way forward if they decide whoever's there wants to keep the road or the wire or wants to keep the concrete pillars for something.
Or the fencing or the
Right.
the buffering or
Well,
whatever.
yeah, why would you want the buffering trees down if they're,
Right.
I'm
as
good.
long as there's a way forward that they can keep it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. If they sell it in 5 years and then they leave and someone new says they left all their crap.
Is there any liability on the township then if those wires are left? Do you need something from the property owner in writing to protect the township? Because the decommissioning plan says you're going to take it all out. And now we've allowed somebody to come in and say, supposedly, that they want to keep it. So
yes, so from our standpoint, yes, the township would want something that's official written correspondence from the property owner signed that says, I am property owner, I say I want this waived, and that's part of our approvals of that decommissioning plan. If they need to amend it later, correct. We would want very clear documentation. You said this, we verified it was you, and we move forward.
I find it hard to think that planning commission would approve a changed site plan with just the operator at decommissioning saying, oh, the owner said he'll keep all this stuff, so we're not doing
I was
it.
looking for the writing thing, is what I was looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, it's on the record though, whether it's writing or verbal.
Right.
It would be at the site plan review.
It would
update.
still be part of the
I
public
thought it was
record.
decommission, it was at the site plan or decommissioning?
Site plan and decommissioning, same
They're,
package.
they're married together.
But to change it to give the current owner anything, it would be updated site plan, so it would be on record. It might, that's why I don't think it has to be a letter, because it would be on the record if they did it in person at the meeting.
But you would want to verify that that is in fact the owner. I think you would want to make sure that, Joe Schmo comes up and
Right.
says, so
That would all be handled way after.
I would want it right.
And they can always make that comment during public comment and then provide a letter later. So, but I would want it in writing. I'd want it to be signatured and things of that nature. Transfers, the township can request notification, but I caution you on treating similar uses similarly, requiring re-review on a change in ownership.
Okay, so you're on page
So I'm on
12.
H with transfers.
12, okay. Yep.
So what's the issue here?
So this is a very unique policy that we're putting on just commercial solar facilities. So it's not uncommon to say, hey, we want notification when we know it's a change in operator so we can update contact info. There's a public safety welfare we can back up with that. But making sure that we say the new owner agrees in writing to the township legal counsel on the terms of the special land use, that's uncommon. By taking ownership, they are tied to everything that was there. The special land use is run with the land. So I think it overcomplicates it. So I think no problem notification, just simplify the language because we already have those teeth.
Okay.
Next is insurance and liability.
Wording isn't accurate then, is it? If there is a ownership, am I reading that right? You're on H?
Yeah.
If there's an ownership, the idea here is, should that say if there's an ownership change?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll have to come into the planning commission
Well, the ownership change that doesn't require any public notice or public hearing or site plan, that's not common.
But our ordinance says if you have property, a new owner of a property that has an SLU, approval has to come in and reintroduce the new owner to the planning commission.
So when we get to the audit portion of your zoning ordinance update, we will also address it there.
Bingo.
Okay, so that's a change, okay.
It is item line 17 of who knows how many.
Okay.
So-
That'll help me there.
So then we have insurance and liability. So I recommend more general language be used because this number can be dynamic over time. So my colleague that does this, they're like, oh, we did 4 million for our solar. Size, type of equipment, that really changes this number dramatically. So it's okay to say that you would like them to have a policy. You wanted to make sure it's by Michigan licensure in some way, but we really just want notification of that. The number is just too volatile.
So who's gonna decide how much it's gonna be and when is it gonna be?
Depends on the size of the project, I would
Well,
assume.
that's where we go back to the other thing. There's not a single other business that we mandate an amount of insurance for.
Of value, a specific value.
Right.
And that it's a special land use. So that is something that we can have those educated number discussions. If you want to add clarity to it, we can say during site plan review, just so then it's abundantly clear. So typically your township engineer would help with the evaluation of what that cost would be. But we really want to know more specifics about this project before we throw a number. So if that would be helpful context, I can add that.
Okay, then we're honing in on 2 hours here. Let's stop at Article 13, get through this last sentence here.
Sure.
And then let's table this for the next meeting. I hate to drag it out another meeting, but
This is important, Kevin. I think we're doing well.
I don't disagree, but
Well, there's only one section left, which is definitions. And that should be pretty quick.
okay, if you think it will,
Because 13, we already kind of talked about. I recommended that the language you had earlier was very good, but it should apply everywhere. So that's why 1310 is being added. So that way you have general requirements that are consistent with what you wrote earlier. But essentially, so I took pretty much the exact same language, but now it applies to everything. Rather than just being for commercial solar.
Oh, so they'll go back in Article 30,
Correct. So
back in-
I like the parameters you had, they were all good, other than the letter of credit. I don't recommend those. But this should apply to everybody. So that's what I added that language for. And then we have a few different quick things, I think, under definitions to tweak. So I didn't like your definition of accessory use. So I provided that more general language associated with accessory uses, which is just a subordinate to the main use on the property. I kept your reference components. I didn't want to use the abbreviation, just said specific project / applicant rather than the SES. On site, I wanted to generalize it, just saying use, because we might use this language for battery storage facilities or other things. So tried to simplify it that way. As far as racking and collectors, I don't, I think already have, these are already definitions you have somewhere else. So I recommended for their removal of duplicate definitions that you already have in 8.7. Have an 8.7. I recommended modification of the non-participating, again, just to be more general, so then it doesn't include just commercial, but other installations where we may use non-participating parcels. Let's see. And then the changes to remove the racking, solar collector, solar energy facility, solar panels, solar things. These are probably references, but I just want to make sure that's understand that those are already existing in the ordinance, so we don't really need to specifically list them there because they're not
So-
new.
We were adding these under definitions, not in the solar ordinance. This was under the subheading of definitions. So we were adding these two definitions because we didn't find them there.
Right, in Article 14.
Right.
I think is our
Oh,
definitions.
right. Because I think we found them, yeah, because they were a duplicate from somewhere else. So yes, I agree with having those being defined.
In the definitions.
In the definitions,
Roger that.
and not someplace else.
Correct.
That's our typical ordinance. This thing,
Right.
it's in good shape.
But let's put the definitions in the definitions section.
It'd be unique.
It's a good goal.
So that's it. We did it. So moving forward steps, so I can develop draft 6. I don't know if you want to see those track changes based on our discussion. You want a clean copy, that way it's just easy to kind of go through and say, yep, this is everything we talked about. Do you want it to go through legal before you see it next? Ready for public hearing?
My preference would be to see a clean copy before we go anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my preference.
I agree, yeah.
Do we go before legal, or legal before public hearing?
So it depends how testy it is. So on testy topics, I recommend you go to legal before public hearing. That way when the public is aware and they say, well, we really want a setback or we really want a minimum size or maximum size. Well, you already ran it through our attorney. They said no, rather than them saying, well, that was in there. That's why I didn't come to the meeting. And then you removed it. Well, we had to move it because of legal reasons. So on controversial issues, I recommend that we do that sooner before public hearing, just so the public is fully aware of what we're actually proposing.
I agree.
And then after that, it turns into ordinance form, and then it typically goes to the township board after public hearing.
So we will get a clean copy in our March meeting,
Yes.
and then planning commission reviews it one more time, and then it goes to the attorney.
Because I think at one more review, unless there's something crazy, because I think it'll be, if you keep bringing it back, you're gonna nitpick it.
It's just,
I think one more review and
yeah, it becomes,
get it out there.
yeah. See what sticks.
I know two people are really done looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know about you, I'm getting burnt out on solar energy.
Yep, no problem. Yep, no problem.
All right, thank you, Caitlin, and our solar subcommittee for that enlightening presentation.
Well, thank you for the extra eyes, always help.
Let's move on to our reports for the evening from our planner.
So the only thing I have to note is that Waitrim is doing a joint training with some of our surrounding jurisdictions. We did that a couple years ago. So Emily City is hosting, and we're going to do it at their fire hall in their training room. And so you'll get an email about more information. We'll kind of let you know how to register, and then the township and us can figure out the payment system or whatnot, but it's shared costs between our other surrounding jurisdictions. It will be a basics planning and zoning workshop. And that will be on April 9th is the current date we have down. And so I'll send you more information. I'm hoping to have that in the next week or two.
Thank you.
Which fire hall?
Their new one, if you have
Oh,
not
the
been.
one on
Borland.
Borland, yeah.
We have a project update from our engineer next. He did provide a synopsis of all the open projects. There's one thing on here that I don't know why, and that's the Vintech thing. That's been deemed dead, so that should be removed.
That's what I told.
Yeah, but starting at the top, Country Smokehouse, this has been a problem to wrap this up. This was all presented to the meeting on Monday night, is that correct?
Yes.
This list? Can you run through these and tell us what the plans are between the ordinance enforcer and engineer to get some of these things wrapped up?
I didn't bring that sheet with me, Kevin, but I can tell you this morning, there is discussion on what we call the number one item on our list without, so, yeah, we're gonna take some action on that one. There seems to be some confusion there. You got engineering looking at it? I don't think it's necessary.
I asked if he could give us a fresh update. He hasn't been there in a very long time.
It's a matter of the retention pond. And I think it was revised according to IDA in 2022. It didn't change the location of the retention pond, so.
It just, you know, the pond is smaller and there's a sheet flow, but he still hasn't submitted any drain easement or anything like that.
So we are gonna take action on that one. What's the next one, Kevin?
Next one would be Midas substation.
Still waiting for the trees to grow.
There's nothing there. I mean, I don't know why. Some of them, they're not even asking for a final, and I don't know why they're not, because they're pretty well done. What's the next one then?
Pinecrest, no
Pinecrest
change.
is a very active,
Yeah, it's not going.
they got 10 homes going in there, so they are very active. The road met the county standards. Corey did the engineering on it for both the township and the county, so it's a county public road, so.
Okay, it says here, it says the project construction is completed and accepted. It remains open because the owner is building the house pads and residential house being, okay, so,
It's a building department.
okay.
Well, no, it's engineering because when engineering has to approve the site plan, the plot plan for elevations. And with that, and then after the project, the phase is completed, he has to again go through the road, making sure they didn't damage it. The road is in good shape. So it's an ongoing project. It's nothing different than when they came in the first time. It took a little while.
It's very active. They got 10 homes going in there right now, I think.
Oh, more than that,
More than that now?
more than that.
Oh, good for them.
Good job. That's a great company out there.
Good for them. They seem to be very active in the township and they seem to be good stewards.
They
on
are.
all of their projects.
Yep,
Oh, yeah,
top notch.
they're very compliant.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Ayakobachi, that can come off this list. That's a,
Yep,
that's,
They recovered the $700
770,
Saturday or Sunday or whatever,
last week.
last week. That's gone.
Legacy Metals, they're just trying to wrap up some dumpster construction. That makes sense because of the frost and so forth, as far as putting in pilings and whatnot.
That came out pretty good. That's the one where, yeah, that came
Yeah.
out pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen the inside yet. He's a customer and a vendor. We work together quite often and I just haven't been in the
You
building.
see it,
Yeah.
they did a really nice,
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but really good things.
Yeah, but Terry's a good guy.
Yeah, Terry, Dave and Jerry.
Yeah. Jimmy's storage site plan, so that's a weather issue again there. The communication tower on Glover Road, it looks like that's
I have a violation with Soil and Sed. So I have to get with Soil and Sed and see if they've complied. The tower people said they were only responsible for the tower. They're not responsible for the site work. So I'm trying to work with the owner to get the site work completed, but because of weather, he's got
yeah,
to.
it's probably a weather issue more than anything there. Vintech, again, that should be off the list. That project has been canceled. Blake's Backyard, of course, we all know that there's changes coming there. And Southern Truck is up for a final inspection, so
They've done pretty well.
They've moved
Yeah,
right
they
along
just got
on that.
their
Yeah, they did not-
Second permit issued today, so they're well on their way with
I didn't
completing.
bring my sheets.
That was Southern Truck,
Okay.
yeah, so,
That,
that,
it'll wrap up that list and get it down to where it should be.
yeah. A few items should be coming off of that rather quickly. Zoning Board of Appeals report. I'll yield the floor to Mr. Shane. Anything there?
No, the zoning board of appeals was not required to meet, and I have no further updates.
Thank you. And now the floor is yours, Ida.
Okay, so I have the two items that were on this month. I don't have anything new as Sherlock isn't, asked to be scheduled in April. So for March, I only have the two items that were on February's agenda. I do have a concern though, and this is a general concern from the Township Board, and that is watch your emails, please. Be very careful about what you send out, to who you send it out. Try and avoid group emails because you could be in violation of the Open Meetings Act. So be very careful with that. And that's just a general comment that I'm getting from the Township Board people, to please be careful with communication. I'm glad you kind of wrapped this solar up because the cost is around $10,000 at this point. And the board is hoping that we can wrap it up soon.
Cost of doing business.
Well, I know, but it's a little bit more costly than I think that they anticipated. So just, let me see. I haven't heard anything from Blake's, other than they've asked to maybe April, May.
Back even farther.
Yeah. So, and I haven't had any other applicants make any noise, come in.
No Sheets gas station or anything coming?
No, I figure they'll let me know when they're ready. If they, because they had a lot of homework to do. They had to get through the state. And that's, so we'll see what happens there.
Thank you. Any general comments from anybody else about anything? To get back to the email, that was I think we may have gotten a little off track earlier in the month, and
It's just not the planning commission, it's
I agree,
everybody.
and because of some sensitive projects with a lot of public input, we could find ourselves really being at the discretion of some attorneys and things if we get off track. So I agree. Keep it as much in the public record as possible. And then we're
Right,
covered.
because they can ask for all of your emails. So if they
Yeah.
see an email that they feel might have been inappropriate, not meaning to be, but
Just
Yeah.
a mistake, just
yeah, so
something.
be careful.
Yeah.
They always say, in your emails, act as if you're given a deposition. Careful. Be very careful. And that's just,
Thank you.
but that was for all boards. So.
Sure. Okay. I have nothing else on the agenda.
I have one question about accessing this building. Does the planning commissioners have access to this building? Beyond the hours, the access code for that door. Does anybody have that? Okay.
That has to be approved by the board.
The reason I'm asking is that I think Leo has a hard time I come in and get my mail because I'm here almost every day anyway. I was thinking that it's been suggested to move the planning commissioners' mailboxes into where the board mailboxes are and giving access to the building to all the planners. So I think that might, because Ida's office hours are 2 days a week now. 2 days, right?
2 days?
So that's a possibility that's been suggested. I have talked to some of the board members. They're surprised you don't have access.
I would have to agree with you that that's probably a good idea. I keep long hours.
Yeah.
For me to drive by at 8 o'clock at night to stop in and pick up my information might not be a bad idea.
Okay.
Oh, I think that's an
All the
excellent
offices
idea.
are locked, so just because you can access to the building, I'm in here every day and Leo has to.
But, yeah, and he has his own mailbox in the room,
Two
so.
of them. But, okay, so I'm gonna pursue that, but right now, some of the board members were unaware that you didn't have access, so I don't think it's gonna be too difficult to get that approved. Okay, that's all I got, Kevin.
Tracy, you've been
Good.
quiet as a church mouse over there. Thomas, anything? Nick?
Saw Thumb Gun was on the market, so maybe we'll get another introduction and it sells for SLU.
Oh, it is on the market. Interesting. Yeah.
What's on the market?
Thumb Gun? Thumb Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, not again.
It's this is a personal observation. It's not really official, but it's tough business these days for a small operator. And I could see where they might be having trouble.
Well, I heard some comments of maybe going back to a car dealer. It's in the SLU.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they might be, if it sells, coming to say hi. So we just have to keep our eye on inviting them.
Yeah, that's Bonnie,
I got nothing.
Leo,
Yes.
any words from either of you as far as new members? Are you getting the information you need? Are you?
Yeah, I'm still in the learning mode, obviously.
Well,
A lot to
I've
learn
spent
here.
5 years. I'm still learning more.
I do have a class coming up next month. Looking forward to that.
I mean, you've been a township employee in the past, so
Right.
you know how to work your way through the system in that regard. So,
Sometimes.
yeah. Dennis seemed to you've spoken your mind, so.
Yep.
There's only one item left.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Bonnie and supported by Nick. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Good night.
Good night.
Well,